Hey guys, Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com. All right, so I got a direct message from T-Mac about a specific deal structure on a foreclosure that happens next week. So a very short timeline on the foreclosure, and here's the information that I have, and then I'm going to give my best advice based upon the information I have. So first off, foreclosure next week, short time frame on the foreclosure. Second piece of information is the house is worth $525,000. Seller owes $360,000 on a mortgage, and their back payments, here's the caveat, is $180,000, right? So that's what, $540,000, house is worth $525,000. What do you do? Is it a deal? Can you do anything with it? Now, T-Mac has been reaching out to the seller, and finally the seller calls back and is desperate, needs something to do, doesn't know what to do. She's willing to do anything. So you get a highly motivated seller, goes to sale in a week, house maybe is over indebted based upon the numbers. What do you do? All right, so first off, and here's the advice I gave her on a quick DM, but I wanted to do this video to so everyone can benefit from it. So first off, we have to verify the numbers. We have to know with 100% fact that the 180 is actually in the arrears, the money. Now, for me, in my opinion, that number is way too, I have never, out of all the foreclosures I've done, ever seen back payments of $180,000, right? That number seems off to me. So first off, I would look at that and verify that number. So what I would do initially, I would set an appointment with a seller. I would go meet the seller at the house. I would look at the house, make sure everything obviously is not completely trashed. And then I would get the property under contract. You can't do anything without getting the property under contract, right? In the contract, I would put not a purchase price. There'd be no purchase price on the contract. I would put buyer agrees to pay seller, and I try to negotiate an amount to the seller. Now listen, the thing essentially is over indebted, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000 if you're absolutely nice. $1,000 to $2,000. Buyer agrees to pay seller net $2,000 at close of escrow, right? And then buyer agrees to pay the settlements of mortgages, liens, late payments, attorney fees, back payments, judgments, any of that type of stuff, right? So buyer pays the settlements of all those things I just listed, right? Seller agrees to vacate property upon close of escrow. And then I would potentially put in there buyer agrees to convey title via an agreement for sale, land contract, contract for deed. Those are three different instruments. On an exact wrap of the existing loan of $360,000, which shall in payments amount of, say, I don't know what the payments are, so let's call it, 360. Let's call it, $2,500. That shall not exceed $2,500 for the term of 5 years. That gives you the ability to reinstate the loan if the numbers aren't correct and leave the existing loan in place. Now, you don't have to do that. It can be a cash deal. So what you do is now we're gonna find out exactly what the back payments are, what the mortgage payment is, get all that information plus the $2,000 to the seller is essentially going to be the purchase price. Now, if that number is significantly lower than the 525, hey, we got a deal, right? If it's not, or if there's some sort of issue with it, then we can potentially make something happen with this deal. So what we're going to do is, first off, we have to get it under contract. We're going to get it under contract with this specific information. Now that we have that done, what we're going to do is open up escrow. We're going to open up escrow, and this all has to happen this weekend, right? So today is Saturday. It's going to happen by next week, so we can get it escrow open first thing Monday morning. And now we can have the title company pull the title report, get all the information, and here's what we're going to do to postpone the sale. Now that you have a contract on the property, what we can do is we can go back to the mortgage company, back to the auction company, back to the foreclosure company, and we can go to them and ask them to postpone the sale for 30 days, right? We want them to postpone the sale for the 30-day period because you're in contract to purchase, right? Now, majority of the time, right? Majority, I'm talking 90% of the time, the company is going to work with you to postpone the sale. So that's the first initiative, is to postpone the sale. So now you have time to work and get through the numbers and all the information, potentially negotiate if you have to. So that's the first initiative. Now, what if they don't postpone the sale that 10% of the time? Then you can instruct the seller to file what's called a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Now, you're going to refer them to an attorney, a bankruptcy attorney. The attorney is going to file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and that will stop that property from going to sale, will stop that auction, right? It's going to give you time. Now, once you're going to communicate with the attorney, I would find a good bankruptcy attorney that you can tell what the situation is. Then what's going to happen is, and you want to make sure they know that they're going to get paid out of escrow. They're not going to get paid from the seller out of escrow once you flip and close the transaction. So tell the attorney exactly what's happening. Then what you're going to do, in that particular case, get all the numbers, all the information. Then you're going to, if all the numbers work out, flip the property, wholesale it right before closing. You're going to have the attorney dismiss the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Then you're going to close the transaction. You can make a profit and do whatever, and whatever's going to happen at that point. So that's 10% of the time we're going to do that. So let's go down the path that they actually postpone. Now what you're going to do is you got to verify the numbers. You have to make sure that $180,000 is real number. Now, what if, and here's what I think is happening. I could be wrong, but what I think is that $360,000 is inclusive of the $180,000 or the back fees or the payments. So instead of it being worth, I was saying owing $540,000, I think they owe around $360,000, $370,000, $380,000 with those back payments, right? And I think it's inclusive, that number's included in that $360,000, whatever those back payments are. That's my gut feeling of what the actual numbers are. Now, if that's the case, you have a smoking deal. You have an awesome deal. Now you're in it for $360,000, maybe $370,000. You give the seller a couple $1,000s, and you can wholesale that deal and flip it, right? If it's worth $525,000, if you flip it at 80% of the value of that, well, I don't even know what the numbers are. I'm just so let's call it, you flip it for, say $410,000. Right? You give $125,000 or $400,000, you give $125,000 to equity, right? And you make a $30,000, $40,000 potential profit or more, especially if it's a super hot area. So that's what I think. So you have to gather that information. How do you do that? You got to get a letter of authorization from the seller when signing the contract, and that has to happen today or tomorrow, right? Get a letter of authorization, TMAC, from the seller, and that's going to allow you or the title company to pull the payoff information and the reinstatement information. So you're gonna ask for a payoff and a reinstatement. The reinstatement is the number that they have to pay to bring that loan current. That's going to be the arrears number, the payments that behind, and any attorney fees or fees associated with processing that actually foreclosure auction. So you need the reinstatement and you need the actual payoff. That's going to be the total number. Now, my opinion, actually not my opinion, but my gut feeling is that I believe that the reinstatement amount is included in that. So the payoff will be $360,000 and the reinstatement amount is going to be some number, whatever that number might be. And it might be even $180,000. If it's $180,000, it's fine. You're still in it for $360,000 plus the $2,000 to the seller. Right. Now, if for some reason the reinstatement's significantly lower, it might be a couple $1,000s, or maybe let's call it $10,000. Then, because you structured the contract where you left the existing loan in place, right? Now you could flip it on a down payment arbitrage. You could sell it for $50,000 down, of which $10,000 goes to reinstate, $2,000 goes to the seller, and then the balance goes to you. Now you make a $40,000 plus deal on that, or actually a $38,000 plus deal on that particular deal. So that becomes another great deal. It's a great deal for a buyer. It's easy to sell in the marketplace. The loan is now reinstated, and then you can make a profit on it. The seller gets $2,000, and it's a win-win. You have two different paths you can go down based upon what is currently owed. You could go a cash sale, meaning you have the reinstatement plus the loan amount, plus whatever you sell it for. So you sell it for $400,000, whatever your all-in number is, minus what you sell it for is going to be your profit. Or you could do it where it's a down payment arbitrage. You leave the existing loan in place. Now, what if it is $540,000? What if it's owed $540,000? Well, then if that's the correct numbers, then the right thing for her to do is to file the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So she's going to file the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. The attorney's going to work with her and help her work through the process with her property. They're going to cram down the bank. They're going to have them take less. And what's going to happen is then it'll be a better situation because she can restructure her debt in a way and make payments that make sense that she can afford. So you get path one, where they owe actually less and you got a potential deal and you can do a down payment arbitrage or just a cash sale and sell it, right? Number one. Number two, you can, if they actually will not postpone, then you got to file bankruptcy, right? And then you can actually get the deal done out of bankruptcy if they owe less. Path three is that they owe way too much and you can't happen, and filing bankruptcy is the right option for that seller to make it happen. So any which way, right, you can actually help the seller, whether it be bankruptcy, whether it be closing the deal, you can actually get that deal done for the seller, but you have to gather all the correct information. Now, if you guys are going to submit deals for me to talk about or whatever, this is the information I need. I need what it's worth, right? I need what they owe, first and second mortgage. That's critically important. Need to know the foreclosure date of when it's going to happen. Need to know the arrears, how much they owe in the back payments, and if it's inclusive or it's separate from actually what the mortgage amount is. That's critically important. And the payment amounts. If you know the payment amounts, that's also critical, because we got to make sure the payments are less than rents in that particular area. So if you give me that information when you're actually DMing me a deal, and I get 50 billion DMs, so I'm not going to be able to answer them all, but the bottom line is I can pick a few of them out that would help everybody in the community there and help them potentially structure a deal. So that's what you do on a super short foreclosure time frame, and be able to structure a deal where you don't have all the information. You got to get it under contract to give you the options so you can gather the information and you can execute any which way possible. You're going to be helping the seller either A, get the deal closed, or B, do a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Hope this helps. Go out there and crush it, and God bless.